Hello friends, I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. Today I am doing my look back video, where I look back at what I played and released in May of 2023. In this case, I do this video at the beginning of every month, just kind of as a quick review of the games I played that were new to me in list order from my least favorite to most favorite, and I'll dive into that a little bit when I actually get to that part of the video. And I also look back at the videos I released in the last month. And speaking of in the last month, since this video came out last month, I got an influx of new subscribers. So hello, welcome, thank you for joining me. And this might be a good place for you to start watching, I guess, because let's go ahead and get into the meat of my look back. To start off my look back video, I want to look back at all the videos I released last month, May of 2023. So the first video I released was this very video for last month, looking back at everything that was new to me in April and all those videos. So if you want to look back at a look back, that's where you'd start. Otherwise, I released my favorite component in Creature Comforts and Everdel's Big Box this past month, one at the beginning of the month and one at the very end of the month. Then I released my top 10 of my newest challenge, where I take 4 months and I play 10 different solo games or solo variants of games 5 times each. And then I rank them from 10 to 1 in solo game enjoyment, not necessarily best to worst game, but how well I enjoyed the solo version of those games. Some of them are only solo mode games, but if you want to dive into what I thought about the 10 solo games that I played 5 times each back through January to April of 2023, you can check out that top 10. Or if you just like top 10 lists and you missed that one, that's a good place to look too. The next video I released in May, right in the middle of the month, was a hot take review of Legacy of You, and I guess I might have misnamed it a little clickbaity. I'm not sure. I did have someone question it, but I didn't mean to treat it as clickbait. I meant that it was just fresh off the stove, hot take, right after I played it a time or two, and I just wanted to get a quick review on it. But I'll probably go ahead and call that something different in the future than a hot take review. More like a first impressions, I guess, moving forward. But if you want to check out my initial thoughts of the Legacy of You solo-only game, I did release a review, short review of that. Then I released my designer spotlight on Button Shy, which went way faster than I expected. I really enjoy Button Shy, so hopefully the fact that that video was shorter doesn't take away from how much I enjoy Button Shy games. They're just really good, and I guess I could, sum up the spotlight of Button Shy games a lot quicker than I expected. But all said and done, check out my Button Shy spotlight on the designer, where I just look at what Button Shy has done and why I am a Button Shy subscriber and monthly member. And then finally, or well, not finally, because finally would be the Everdell favorite components, but I already mentioned that. So my final big thing from last month was my review of After Us, a very new game, kind of the Planet of the Apes style deck tableau builder resource generation game. And so I do a full-on review of that one, where I talk about gameplay and then my full thoughts in Gizmo format. So that's what I put out in video form in May of 2020. And outside of those videos, I also had one video I didn't release. I planned on releasing, and part of the reason I was more busy in May was because I took a weekend trip to Brussels to go to a Comic-Con with my family, and I intended to do a vlog of that. I filmed like the intro, hey, we're about to take off portion of the vlog, and then I realized I'm not a good vlogger, and you might see this too if you follow me on Instagram. I don't pictures and video much outside of this sit-down time that I put aside every week or so, every couple weeks, depending on how often I can film. But live action, like taking pictures and videos in the moment, I hardly ever do. That's why I don't take many pictures of my gameplays. And it turns out I don't take many pictures and videos of me trying to do a vlog. I started my video, said, hey, we're going to hit the road, and then we got to where we were going, and we started to get settled. And then the next day I woke up, went to the train and said, hey, I'm at the train, head to the Comic-Con, and we'll try to get some pictures and videos from there. And the place was so crowded and so loud, I didn't even attempt to take a video. And we didn't take that many pictures either in the end. So if I put together that vlog that I planned on putting, I probably would have had 2 minutes of footage. And I decided not to even bother with the effort of trying to do something with that. So I apologize to anybody who might have been interested in that. We did have a great time at the Comic-Con for the day we were there. Saw lots of neat things, and my kids enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it. And I would go back, but I did not have any content from it like I intended. All right, so let's go ahead and look back at the games. Hopefully you're here. I try to do board game content creation, and so board gaming is what you're probably interested in if you follow me or clicked on this video. So in May, I only played 24 games in total. That's way down. I think the last few months I was in the 50s and 60s for 6-7 straight months. I knew there's going to be a slowdown as we get into the summertime. That's just going to be natural, and it's probably going to continue for the next few months. But I did play some bigger games too, and that's also going to lead into the lower number count. If you're playing a small, fast game, you're going to play it more often than a big, long game. So 24 total games, 17 different games. That means I didn't really double down on anything I played. And 6 of them were new to me, although that's me putting kind of 2 halves together, and I'll cover that here when I get started on my top 7 with 6 new to me games, 7 new to me games, 5 new to me games, 2 half games, however you want to look at it. 5 definitely new to me games, and then 2 not as new to me, and we'll discuss those. And finally, I only repeated 5 games from last month, so pretty much everything I got to the table was at least different than what I'd been playing. With that said, let's go ahead and start off with the first half game that I played, and I did get permission to talk about this a little bit, and I might talk about it more in the future, in the coming months, as I play it some more and as it gets closer. But I have been playing a little bit of the Clans of Caledonia Automa that has been released, or well, is in the works, I should say, by Karma Games. I really enjoy Clans of Caledonia. I'm in the group there on Discord, and we have access, or I've gotten access to the Automa version of the game. Right now, it's just kind of an online automation version of the cards, so no physical cards, nothing to show off yet, really. But I have the rule set, and I've provide a little bit of feedback, and I will continue to try to do so as I poke at it, because it has been really enjoyable. I like Clans of Caledonia, and I like this take on the Automa game. It's a more one-on-one style of game, and you could probably even play it. I think it's actually in there that you could probably add it to a 2-player game even too. I'm not 100% sure if I'm remembering that correctly. And everything in the game is definitely subject to change as it's still in development, of course. But what's there I've really enjoyed, and it's better in my eyes than the Automa version that was included in the base game of Clans of Caledonia. So I like what's coming up. I believe this is set to come to Kickstarter later this year with the Clans reprint and new expansion. That is all in the works as well. So that's the first half game I played. Obviously, I haven't played it for real. It's still in development, so I didn't want to say it's a new game that I played, but it's a definite new take on a game I enjoy, and I'm happy to be able to talk about it a little bit and play and comment on its development. So thanks Yuma and Karma Games. I think it's Juma, Juma, at Karma Games, who is the developer and everything, for A, let me talk about it a little bit, and B, just for the work that you guys have put into it and given access to it. The other half game that I want to mention is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition Crisis Mode. This is the cooperative version, so it's a new version of an old game, and so these two are kind of honorable mentions, whatever, before I get into my list. Both of these I would probably put down in the top 2 or 3 range if I were to rank them in the month, but I'm just kind of put these at the end to talk about ahead of my actual ranking. The Ares Expedition Crisis Mode, I enjoy it. I've only played it one time solo, and it's fun. It's a new take on the Terraforming Mars style game, the Ares Expedition version specifically, and it's enjoyable while you're trying to keep Mars terraformed against all the natural disasters and bad things that are happening in the game. I've enjoyed it. It's fun. I think I've said that a bunch of times, but I don't know if I like it a whole lot. I might just stick to mostly just the regular Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. But that was a new-ish game that I played last month and will continue to kind of poke at here and there. All right, let's get into the new for sure games that I played this past month, of which there are only 5 now, having knocked out the first 2 kind of honorable mentions. And in the 5 spot was a game we found on our trip to Brussels, where we were staying. We were staying in an Airbnb, and they had a game there. It was Gone Fishing, a little game where you've got it's a kid's game. It's an old game. It's the French version, being in Brussels, where, French, Dutch, whatever. But basically, you just dump some fish and things into the middle. You've got this big cardboard, hex that you put around it, and you kind of fish with magnets to try to catch the fish, and you just add up points. I believe we didn't have the rules, and if we did, they would have been in French. But Gone Fishing, we played it a couple times, me and my daughter, and it's fine for what it is. A simple, drop a magnet into a tube and try to pull out pieces of cardboard attached to pieces of metal. No big deal. Nothing exciting, nothing fancy, but we enjoyed having that on our arrival to kind of toy with. Number 4 new to me game in May was SpaceShipped. SpaceShipped is a button-shy solo-only game where you're playing with, 18 multi-use cards. That's a button-shy standard, basically. And you're controlling a spaceship, and you're trying to generate resources and money and crew and storage space enough to collect 2 gems to win before the gems, as the tableau moves around, gems are going to fall off, and when they fall off, the enemy ship or whatever gets it, and if they get 4, you lose before you get your 2. But also you can take damage every round. Bad things are going to happen, or maybe good things. Just different things are going to occur at the start of every round. So you deal with those things, and then you go into your action phase, and then you'll move the cards around the board, and that's where they could fall off and go to the enemy ship. But you're basically just trying to manipulate the resources, money, and damage to your ship while you try to generate enough money to buy the crystals that cost like 20 million mega credits or whatever, the 20 amount of currency. And that's hard to come by. And the game is all right. I like the multi-use function of it. I like the fact that you can kind of manipulate the board. You can see kind of what's coming with the market as you buy and sell the items you have as you're shipping them across space. So all that is fine. It wasn't that engaging to me. I don't know. Maybe it was a little longer than I wanted. Maybe I'm just kind of tired of the space theme. But for button shy solo games, this was probably a lower tier one for me. It's fine. It's thinky. It's got things I like I said, multi-use cards, resource management, planning, manipulation to an extent. But there are times where the bad's just worse than you can handle, and then you take too much damage and the game just ends. That happened to me on my second play, where I thought I was doing very well, and then all of a sudden the game is just over because I couldn't take the 4 damage. So I don't know, maybe it's too swingy at a point, and it was okay, just not great, and that's why it's in the 4 spot. Number 3 is a game I played with my family on the trip. It's a quick game that plays 2 to 8, I believe. It's Fuji Flush. It's a game where you're just trying to get rid of the cards in your hand by playing cards higher than what everybody else is going to play. But if you play the same card as someone else, your cards add together and therefore double their value, which makes them higher, which makes it easier or harder for them to get it away. Basically, on your turn, you play a card. Any card that's on the board lower than yours gets discarded, and that owner draws a new card. And then you hope that you still have a card in front of you on your next turn, because if you do, it just gets discarded, and then you play from your hand again until you're out of cards. So the idea is to not have your cards taken forcibly or flushed, because that causes you to draw a new card, and therefore keeps your hand just as big as it was. Me and my family enjoyed this. I would like to play it in a bigger player count because there was only 3 of us, and I could see this being a lot more goofy and strategic with the higher player counts. But it was fun. We enjoyed it. It was a nice, quick filler game, again, for our evenings back when we were away for the weekend. My number two favorite game that I played that was new to me in May is Amsterdam from the Cities Collection from Queen Games, Stefan Feld's Cities Collection. They're kind of remakes of old games and a few new games. And Amsterdam was the last of the original 4 that have been released that I've played. And it's I don't remember it's a remake of. I should look that up. If I do, I'll post it here. I'll try to remember to look it up and put it here. I don't remember, and I don't feel like looking up while I'm filming. But anyway, Amsterdam is a kind of pick up and deliver, resource management, action management, all kinds of everything, managing everything. It's a tight Stefan Feld game where colors matter, resources matter, money matters, action matters. You're planning out future turns against now turns. And I've only played this the solo mode. I really enjoyed it. It's not a hard solo mode to manage, but it's a hard solo mode to manage keeping up with at times, depending on your rolls, because the solo mode is just dependent on rolls. If you get triples, a thing happens. If you get ones, a thing happens. If you get sixes, a thing happens. And that's it. You're rolling 6 dice, and then you take their actions based on what came up on the dice, and then you take your action like you would in a normal game. And you're going around the board with pick up deliver. You're going around the board trying to take over area control on parts of the board, and it all requires action cubes and resources that you have gained or not gained. And then, everything you do is kind of point salad too, as is usual in a Feld game. I just really enjoy Feld games. I'm probably going to do a full-on, Cities Collection ranking at some point, so I won't get too much in my thoughts. But there are a couple others I enjoyed more, and one I didn't enjoy as much out of the 4. So I would say, spoiler alert, Amsterdam, I think, ranks 3 out of the 4 Stefan Feld Cities Collection games so far. But it was good enough for 2 on this list. I think Fuji Flush was fun, but as someone who doesn't enjoy filler games as much as Thinky Euro-style games, I just like Amsterdam better overall. And that's why it came in at 2 instead of Fuji Flush, even though Fuji Flush might be the more fun game. And then finally, the number 1 game from May is a game I got from the library and really enjoyed. It's an old classic, and I'm so happy to have gotten to play it to the point where I've added it to my wish list. It is Puerto Rico. I really enjoy this game. Another tight resource management, action management, everything is tight, thinky, planning, my kind of game, 100%. I played this in a group of 4, maybe it was 3, and we enjoyed the heck out of it, and I'd be happy to own it and play it again anytime. So this is one of the few months where there's quite the separation between Game 5 and Game 4, and then a big jump between Game 4 and Game 3, and then 3 and 2 are kind of together, and then another sizable gap for games I enjoy between 2 and 1. Puerto Rico, easily my favorite game played in May, and probably one of my favorite new-to-me games played this year. I will, in July, look back at all the games that were new to me between January and June, and rank the top 10 or maybe 15 new-to-me games for the first half of the year. I've got that planned. I did last year. I can see Puerto Rico easily being in the top 5 probably at this point. So I really enjoyed it. Puerto Rico was such a fun game, a classic. I can see why it's in the BGG top 100 for sure, and I now look to try to acquire it. I don't know how in print it still is, though, being an older game. But anyway, that's my list, my top 5, and then some favorite new-to-me games from May of 2023. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Comment below what you've been playing, what you enjoy, what you think I should check out based on what I enjoyed this past month. So that way maybe I can add one of your favorites to a future What I Played list. And that's what I have. That's my video. I think I covered everything. And subscribe. I didn't cover that. Subscribe. Please join the growing community. I have over 200 people now. That blows my mind from a year ago when I was happy to have 10. So thank you all for coming, and I will see you next time. Bye.